All right, guys, we have a build in the Montech King 95 Pro. We used a Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3, and an MSI motherboard. Now, we also used a Thermalright secure bracket. So if you guys plan on using any of these items, watch this video. We have a full breakdown on how to build in this case and how to set up all these components. So I hope you guys like it. Make sure to subscribe and like, and we plan on doing tons of builds here and even giveaways on our channel. So I hope you guys like the build, and let's get into it. Nice. The pop mechanisms on this case, no screws to pop off the top, which is pretty dang nice. So let's start out by taking off our glass panels. I'm going to unscrew the back one here. And that's the only screw for that one. Take this off, put this in a very safe place. Everyone out there, we're all super careful with our glass screen or glass panels on our PC case because no one wants to scratch those. Not be good. All right, you guys, now we have a better look at the case here with the glass panels off. So now we're going to turn it around, pop off the back of the case. We really don't need to take this thing apart that much. Another screw in the back here. And boom. Now we got the back panel off also. We're going to take a look at our awesome kit that Montech sends with their case, with all the supplies you need to build in your PC. And not only that, this includes, so here are all the components for each part of the build. We have our instructions. We have our AIO screws. And we have our 3-fan mount, which will actually go on the front panel of the glass case that you can add more fans on. And we're probably going to be throwing on this mesh panel instead of the glass one for my buddy because he is all about performance. You got 2 screws you're going to pop off right here for the back panel that hides all the cables in here. We're actually, we have our USB cables right here. We have our F panel and our audio. So those are the 4 that come already in the case. So we'll be plugging those into the Mobo once we get it installed. And also really quick, you guys, we're going to take out the external hard drive. I believe we got this top screw, which has a little panel to hide it. That one's out. External drives. Some people use it in cable manage, like in it. All right, you guys, now while this case is open, I'm going to explain to you guys how this controller works right here. So we have a fan hub that Montech uses that is super amazing. I really, really like it. The fact that you have to do less cable management in your build is absolutely wonderful. So that's a huge plus. But what we have going on here is we have all the fan cables for the RGB and for the power. And then we have 2 SATA cables, which are going to plug in the RGB light for the front panel of the case and the power for the controller. And then we have another fan header for the motherboard and another RGB header for the motherboard so that you can have addressable RGB. And then everything is already set up in this case. All the wiring is set, so I love that we don't have to do much cable management. We're going to go ahead and move on to the motherboard. So once you have your case all ready to go and set up, the next step of the build is to start with the motherboard. So with our motherboard, we're going to be using the MSI X670E Gaming Plus Wi-Fi. Super excited. This thing is going to be a beast. And this motherboard is also 5.0 compatible. So down the line, this is great for future proofing. And all of MSI's motherboards, I've just been extremely impressed with every time I have used them. So straight out of the box here, oh, I love the turquoise accents we have on this Mobo. We're just going to pop it right out. And I have this we're going to set this back on the case. And we don't need anything else from in here right now. So we're going to close this and just set it right back on. You guys, look at all those turquoise accents. That is so pretty. So yeah, we'll set this down right here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually start with the SSD. That's just what I like to start with. And since my buddy is actually using the old SSDs from his old build, we're going to go ahead and throw them in here. Nice. The wonderful plastic piece on our thermal pad. Nice. And second little peel there. And we're good to go. First off, you got to make sure the SSD you bought is compatible with your motherboard. And we're going to take this little notch right here. As you can see, there's a little gap and it will fit in the teeth right on that edge right there. And then we're going to clip it in right on the top. So when you push these in, they will actually push in and sit. You got to get it snug, make sure those teeth are hidden, and then it will sit like that. It will sit in the up position, if you guys can see how it's kind of floating right there. Get our little attachment turned. And there we go, clips right in. It's facing the right direction. You guys don't have to worry if the thermal pad touches your SSD. It's not going to stick to it or pull it up or do anything. But yeah, once you have one side in, usually the other side screws in perfectly. And we're going to move on to the second SSD we're going to install. Take off a little plastic thermal. And same thing, you're going to line up the teeth. Wiggle it in. Make sure it sits up nice. And we're going to pull it on down. I love how all these motherboards have these nice little attachments. There we go. And we're on. Now, for our CPU, we're going to be installing the Ryzen 7 7800X3D with an AM5 secure bracket. Our AIO is going to go. Only don't. Yeah, stripping screws is never fun. Probably one of my least favorite things to do. Definitely doesn't happen very much when working on PCs, but it definitely will while you're working on other projects and other things. These nice and loose so they just wiggle on out. All right, next we're going to be taking off the ILM on the motherboard, and to do this, we're going to use our handy little AM5 kit right here, Thermalright AM5 kit. We're going to use this little hex Allen wrench right here. Fits right in there, and we're just going to screw off all of these. It doesn't matter whether this is popped or not. Get all of them nice and loose. And again, you guys, be very careful. Make sure everything fits right. Definitely do not strip these threads. Come on, pop off here. There we go. So we got our ILM off. Just pops off in one piece. We're actually going to throw this back in our little kit here so we can keep all the screws, all the components nice and safe. And we're going to take out our secure bracket right here, get that ready, and unbox this beautiful Ryzen 7 7800X3D. Yes, one of the best gaming CPUs on the market, and I think it's a fairly decent price point. If a lot of you do want to upgrade to this CPU, I think it's definitely worth it. Beautiful boy right here, you guys. Oh, love it. Now we're going to match up this corner right here to the same corner we have in the top of the motherboard. So you have a better angle of the little corner that shows on the back and the front of the CPU right here. We're going to match it up with the corner arrow on here. Perfect. And there we go. All right, guys, and then we're going to undo the little screws that we're going to put on our thermal right bracket. Get this in black or red for only $10 off Amazon. I think the black is nice because the red will show through. It will peek through your guys' AIO. So you got to remember that you will be able to see this. And nice, just perfectly slides right on, nice and smooth. And then we're going to take our screws. And these don't need to be crazy tight, you guys. I'm going to go through each one, just get it nice, snug on here. For careful on this part, you guys, you don't want to drop anything. Nice. All right, and I'm going to go around one more time just to make sure they're not snug. I'm not going to torque them down super hard. I'm just going to make sure they are all even. Yep, just a nice little nudge. There we go. Now, like I said, you guys, take your thermal right little pack right here and put everything right back in here. Take your old ILM. All right, now we're going to move on to the RAM. We're going to be using the very popular Trident Z5 Neo with AMD Expo, and these are going to be running, I believe, 6,000 or 6,400, 6,000 megahertz. So yeah, let's unbox these bad boys. Yes, I've done a few builds with Trident Z, and they're one of the more popular RAM sticks that I feel like last a long time. Their overclocking is great. They offer a lot of cool things on DDR5, lots of great speeds for your RAM. All right. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. It's going to be a super clean black and white build. I think it's going to look very sleek and very sharp. I cannot wait to see how final product looks. All right, you guys, now I'm going to be going over the RAM as if, again, no one has installed RAM before, or if this is your guys' first time. So we're going to zoom in right here on these RAM sticks. And now what we're looking for is essentially this slot in the middle. We're going to go on the second and fourth slots on your motherboard. So we're going to pop these open, top and the bottom. Some cases only have top clips, or some motherboards, I mean. But yeah, so we're going to match up this little clip right there to where it goes on here. And that's tight in. Sometimes RAM is a little hard to click in, as you guys can see, so don't be afraid to give it a little bit of force. Of course, you got to know when too much force is too much and when you're not using enough. Both clicked, and we're in, you guys, to our AIO thermal paste, and then get this bad boy ready to go in the case. Next step in the build, so we got on its back, and then we're going to take the motherboard, and we're just going to set it softly right on all the parts for the screws. Line everything up, make sure everything's in place, and then we're going to go ahead and grab our AIO screws that are going to be hanging out in your Montech King 95 Pro little pack. The SSD and motherboard screws right here. you'll have your power supply screws, you'll have AIO screws, your motherboard screws. They just give you a ton of extra parts and really good things to help clean up your build and make sure you're not missing anything. You even have standoff bolts. You even have hard drive, like external hard drive bolts. So it's pretty nice. And then here, we're going to be putting in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe 8 motherboard screws to lock in the MSI. Again, if you guys are cross-threading or it doesn't feel like a smooth thread anywhere on your build, do not force it, anything like that. It's all about being patient, you guys. When building a PC, you got to be patient. You got to make sure you order the right parts. And if you don't order the right part, return it and get the right one. Don't try to jerry-rig it. Don't try to cut things. Don't try to force it to make it fit. I do not recommend, you guys. Because, you know, you're spending a lot of money on your PC build. Over $1,000 people usually spend on their PC build. So why would you want to cut corners? Why would you want to get things that don't match up correctly, that mismatch? I just never really understood it. I mean, I get it if you're doing like a $500 build. Hell yeah, cut some things, have mismatching fans, you know, do all the goofy stuff you can to make it work. But when you're working with brand new components, I think it's smarter to return the product instead of trying to force it to work. All right, now that we have our motherboard screwed in, you guys, we're going to go ahead and start with our AIO installation. We're going to be using the Arctic Freezer 3. So let's get that set up. We're going to be using the Liquid Freezer 3 in black for this build. Let's go ahead and I like to turn my case sideways when I'm working on the AIO. So we're going to flip it to the side right here. And this top pops off super easy. There we go. And then let's go ahead and unbox this Arctic Liquid Freezer 3. This is going to be my first time building with it. So we're in this together, you guys. Let's move this over. Wow, look at these tubes. So I guess they lengthened the tubes because this is crazy, you guys. These have a lot of length on them. I'm super impressed. Hell yeah, Arctic. Arctic's always killing it. Top of the line. I'm always super impressed with them. Now, you guys, my buddy who we are building this PC for, oh, look at that. The fans are already installed. Get out. That's so cool. And we're going to go ahead and peel off the seal. See you later. All right, you guys, now this has a bracket for AMD. It comes with an LGA bracket, but we're not going to be using that one. Here they are. Here's a little baggie full of good. I love Arctic's thermal paste, so we're going to be using the Arctic over the Thermalright thermal paste because I'm just a huge fanboy of Arctic, like I've said probably many times in this video already. We got our pump fans and our VRM. Ooh, we got all our screws. Then we have the brackets, which is nice because actually on the back of these, we have a little left and a right on both these, which is super helpful. Love that. All right, guys. So we've done a little researching to make sure we're installing this Arctic Freezer 3 correctly with our Thermalright bracket we have over there. So to start out, again, we're going to take a look at left and right. We're going to take our little AMD little risers here and set them on each of the mounting points. And then we'll take our right one, which goes closest to the RAM. We're going to set it right on there. and it looks like they go upside down. And then our left one's going to be for the other side. We're going to take our screws that were included in the kit, these ones. I'm going to pop these in. Right there. Nice and snug. Yeah, it's funny to me. It looks like these go in upside down, but they are not upside down, you guys. It's weird. Almost did a little cross threading right there. You guys make sure to not cross thread at all. And we're going to set up the back one here. Again, this is our left one. So it's going to go farthest from the RAM. Nice and snug. There we go. Get our last bolt in. Nice. Just going to go over each one more time, not trying to wrench them down. Just make sure they're snug and all even. All right, you guys. Now we're going to pick up our AIO and we're going to mount it up top here. So we're going to set all that up. All right, you guys. Now, Arctic offers 2 cables you can use for your pump fan and your CPU and VRMs. We have one here which has 3 different connections that you can use if your motherboard allows it, or you can just keep it simple. And this one from them will control all 3, the pump, fan header, VRMs. So this is the one we're going to go with, which is going to clean up the build a ton. So yeah, let's go ahead and just plug this in real quick right in the side right here. Let me get a close-up for you guys. Right in the side of the fan right here. You can see it. We're going to plug this in. Top up. Use a little bit of my nail. And it is in nice and snug. We clicked it in. And yeah, there we go. We're all set. So let's go ahead, prepare to install this right on the top of our case here. And then my buddy was also curious if we could do a push-pull configuration in this build. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to do that just because of clearance issues on the RAM and maybe even just the top of the MSI motherboard. We're going to set that over here nicely. Slide this right into the top. And yeah, like I said, you guys, it is looking super close already. So there's no way we're going to be able to fit a push-pull configuration, but that's totally fine. But yeah, it's always nice if you can do a push-pull and you got extra fans laying around. That's always a huge plus. Then we're going to hop back into our Montech little kit here, and we're going to grab out our AIO. Or we're actually just going to go with the ones provided by Arctic, actually. And let's use the rubber stoppies. Why not? Keep this PC case nice and clean. So yeah, we're going to put on rubber stoppies so we don't scratch the top of the case. Install them on, we're going to do 6 screws. Make sure we're grabbing all the same one. we got all 6 with the rubber stoppers on there. Let's get a better view of us screwing them in. Don't need to get them too tight first off. We just want to line everything up. So I'm going to do one on this side and one on the other side to pick up the radiator. Make sure all of our holes are matching perfect. There we go. Now we can screw this side in. All our bolts are clear. We have clearance everywhere. I'm going to do this one on the bottom. Tighten that up. One up here. One over here. And one more up top. Oh, we're actually missing one. Grab another screw. 2 more. I will probably speed this part up, you guys. Do a little 3 times speed on this. All right, and then we're gonna clean this up. Put these back in a baggie. Throw them in here for now. Awesome. All right, now we have that installed up top here. We're gonna install some thermal paste and slap that puppy on. I am loving this black and white build, you guys. I was kind of mixed on how I felt like it was gonna look, but I think it's gonna be super clean, honestly. Super excited with how it's turning out. All right, we're gonna dab on some thermal paste, and then we'll slap on our CPU cooler. A little X of dots, that'll be perfect. All right, guys, now we're gonna turn this buddy over right here. God, I love the look of this Articao. It's wonderful. People have reported it's pretty hard to screw on these top screws. I'm gonna zoom in for you guys just to see how tough it actually is. From this side, so don't block the light. Oh, can't forget this. Bing. right, now it should, with AMD's offset, should slap on pretty perfect. I like that. I like the look of that, you guys. Now the top, I've heard goes through just the slightest bit, but oh, see, yeah. One side did come undone after I just got it in there. All right, guys, so it definitely took us a minute to get this pump on. Don't be afraid to use a little force with it. You kind of have to bend the panels down for the screws to fit. It's not bad for it. You can see a lot of videos where people are having trouble screwing in the Arctic 3. But we got it to work. Super happy. And what's even cooler is this piece right here with RGB, ARGB. It just connects right on. Looks like there's a little header, 3-pin little header port right back here that attaches to the top right here. So we're just gonna, just set this right on like that. There we go, you guys. So now we have the AIO installed. We got everything ready to go. We're gonna flip this case to the back. And we're gonna quickly install our power supply unit, which we're going with the 850 watt Corsair 850X. Then also we hooked up everything pre-installed on our power supply. So we have all our cables connected here. We are using a 3080 Ti, so we need 2 power supply cables for that. We're gonna push this over here. Everything fits nice and snug. Take our PSU cables, and then we also, you guys are a little confused why we have the little on-off switch button upside down in this direction on this case, and it's because you want the fan to pull in hot, fresh air. So if it was flipped around, you'd be pulling in hot air to your power supply unit, which would not be good. So a lot of people get confused why you hook up your panda little color scheme going on. There's the other one. Screw that in. We got 4 screws for the power supply. We also have our SATA connected to our power supply. That is gonna, like I said previously, it's gonna power the RGB panel for the case and power the fan controller. All right, we got that in. Now you guys, we're gonna start plugging some stuff into the case. Take these, move all these to the side, get them all out of the way so we can see what we're working with down here. So these two are definitely going to be routed through the front to the MOBO. Let's go ahead and push those through right here. Our SATA cables are pretty short, so we are actually going to plug those in real quick to 2 SATA ports for the controller and RGB. Tuck this all back here. Use these front 2. Boom, SATA cable in. Let's get that second one attached. Bend it this way. And we're in. All right. Now let's pull these. I know we gotta pull these through on the side. These two are going through the bottom. So we can just tuck these through the side right here. Tuck these two in the bottom. Work out fine. Come on, feed through, feed through. All right, you guys. Now that is all plugged in. We have everything ready to go. Nice. So now, these are our CPU. We got one right here and our other CPU. So with newer CPUs, you're going to be using 2 cables if you want to overclock. So we're just going to put these in the perfect spot in the top of the case. We're probably going to zip time back here, which is going to be super slick. But let's get these ready to feed through the top. We're going to turn this PC this direction. Feed through for me, please. You're the best. Best. There's perfect amount of clearance. Voila. Our second cable fed through. Make sure to get under our fan cables. And voila. So let me show you guys. Now, we got those through. We're going to get our motherboard through the top here. It's going to be nice and snug in the back. And then we have our GPU cables. Amazing. We're probably going to feed through the bottom one. Just gonna feed them all the way through for now. We're gonna get everything set up, and then we're gonna install our vertical GPU mount, you guys. It's gonna be awesome. Look at that, y'all. We got everything routed, everything ready to plug in. So yeah, you guys, I like to do things one step at a time. Work one step at a time, get organized, make sure you aren't skipping any steps in your build. That's what we are looking like so far, you guys. Looking not too shabby. So these, of course, aren't going to be pulled through that far. And before we put on our Cooler Master vertical GPU mount, we're going to go ahead and plug all these things in. Have tons of reach. So first off, we're going to use an F panel fan header. Plug this fan header in for our controller hub. We're going to drag it over to system fan number 4. See if I can zoom in enough for you guys here. Right over here to system fan number 4. Doesn't matter which number you use on system fan, as long as it is plugged in, it will control the hub, and you'll be able to control it. That's nice. Our F panel, I believe, is on the far right. Our audio is actually on the far left. So we're actually going to pull this cord back, and we're going to reroute it to far left of the case. There we go. And the HD audio will have one pin missing on the top, right? One in, missing the pin on the top. And that's how you guys will know which one is your HD audio. So that's in snug. F panel is far right, missing the top right pin. And we just have an ARGB. So JRGB, we need a 3-pin header. And it's right next to us. Right there. For 5 volts, you guys. 3-pin, 5-volt ARGB header. All right, those are all in. That's wonderful. All right, you guys. Now we're going to be plugging in not stuff for our GPU, but our USB 3.0 headers for the case. We're going to be plugging in our JS USB 1 up here. Nice. It plugged in super easy. I like that. And this one, there's a little notch in the top right here. You're going to line up with the notch on the motherboard. Boom. And we're in. We got both our SATAs plugged in. Then we're going to need to flip around this power supply. The motherboard. Line it up. Click it in. Nice. All right, you guys. Now we're going to attempt to plug in these CPU headers up top here, which is super snug. But they should flip right over. I think I want to do the right one first. Let me try to get them both at the same time. It's really snug up there. But we're going to make it work. We're going to make sure both these are completely plugged in also. All right, guys, now we're going to break into our vertical GPU mount from Cooler Master here. Love this kit because you can actually adjust how far left and right and forward and back you have your GPU mount. So we're going to go ahead and break into this bad boy. What's awesome is this is 4.0 compatible, so you guys double check on your vertical GPU mounts you're buying that to make sure they are 4.0 compatible. And let's see, we got a white one for this build, which is going to be super clean. Got our screws to mount it. We'll head over here, mount this puppy up. So we got our riser cable. And we got our mount. Which is nice because it already comes practically all together. Installed this right here. These are how you're gonna move it left and right. You pretty much just unhinge it from the side right there like that. And that clips it back into place. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to the kit. The riser cable and the screws. Now, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to screw it into our mount. All right, so how we have it here is I believe this goes through the front, and then we just screw it in right there, y'all. Get the screws out. Nifty screwdriver. Zoom on in on which direction and how to screw. It's pretty simple, just 2 screws. Lock in PCIe. And we got Gen 4, which is great. You just flip that up too in case your screwdriver's a little bit in the way. And nice. We got that done. Now we're going to come over to our case. We're going to take out all of our supports here. I got them all loosened up beforehand, except for this one. Okay, guys, love the vertical GPU mount, especially in a case like this. I feel like the airflow is going to be extremely nice. It's going to keep the system super cool, keep the GPU super cool, because 3080 Ti's do tend to get pretty hot. So I am super excited our customer decided to go with this GPU mount right here. All right, we'll take all of them off except for the bottom two, I believe. We can leave on. And then first off, we're actually going to hook it up. As you can see, we have it right below the AIO tubes. We're going to clip that back. We're going to take the cover off our PCIe lane, off our riser. Perfect. You want to tuck it inside the case and just set it down on the fans. It's not going to scratch them. Then take it. I like to do it with 2 hands. And clip. We're in. Now, I'm going to move this back. It's definitely a little snug. Move that forward with this screw right here, so we're not bending the cable a ton. Look at that. Pull it all the way out here. All right. Vertical mount has been installed. Now, you guys, we're going to take our beautiful 3080 Ti right here. Love this card. It's going to look so good with the vertical mount, our Gigabyte 3080 Ti. Yes, so we are upgrading one of our customers' old PCs with a new CPU, new case, and tons of other new parts, new power supply. And this is his old GPU we're going to be throwing in the case. It's going to look too good, you guys. Oh, I cannot wait. So, as I can tell, the tubes are definitely in the way a tad bit, so we're going to move this over to the side. Go to right about there. See if that helps a little with me being able to line this up. All right, so now we're going to install the 3080 Ti on our Cooler Master vertical mount. Take it, flip it the correct direction, move these tubes a tad bit so we have some clearance. Make sure that's clicked down. We are spot on. You're in. We are completely in, you guys. Nice. So now we have one more screw, which goes on the top right here to help support GPU. Nice. It's clicked in. We're going to install both of our power connectors. Nice. Look.